All right, so this dude, his name is Michael Delaney. He was in Benton Township, Michigan, allegedly shot a woman multiple times, took off, went to Georgia, hijacked a car in Georgia, drove that car to our town. Did you hear about this?
At the posse grounds.
He was hiding on York Street. Somehow the cops in Georgia knew that he was here with the Georgia car. Maybe they had a LoJack or something on it. I don't know. Or Apple, whatever. And they called the Weatherford police. The Weatherford police took off and found the guy.
So that's when they shot.
Tried to pull him over.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then he like spiraled out of control over by Rick Williamson. And he just like took off out of his car, started shooting, and they killed him.
Done.
In our little town.
You know what? That's one thing, though, is we're no longer a small town.
Well, I mean, you've got a major thoroughfare right through our town.
Yeah.
Have you ever listened to the police scanner about the type of crap that happens?
I have two of really, really good friends of mine are police officers. And actually, one passed away a couple years ago with COVID.
Oh, dang.
It actually wasn't from COVID, but it was during COVID. But he would tell me these stories, about the drugs that they get, on I-20. And
It's crazy.
when you're on a main corridor, that's like my hometown.
Pull your mic up just a little bit.
Oh.
Thank you. That's good.
Like my own hometown, we're not too far off of Interstate 80. And, you're going east, west, coast to coast on that.
Yeah.
And anytime you're by something like that, you're going to get some of the riprap.
Get a lot of the bad with the good, right?
Yeah.
That's just crazy that he picked our little town, pulled off, and then now he's no longer with this world.
That's crazy.
So.
I got a notification when we were gone on vacation. It was like some kind of one of those phone alerts, and I was like, "What in the hell is going on?" And I text Jeff, and I'm like, "What's going on?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, this dude got chased down, and they ended up killing him."
Yeah,
right there on the posse.
The police just released the whole video, like the footage and all that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's on Facebook.
Yeah.
Oh,
if you
geez.
go to the Weatherford City Police, it's pretty crazy.
But I'll tell you, though, talking about a hometown that safety-wise, I couldn't imagine anything better than Weatherford.
I love our town.
Like, I feel so safe that we've never had a set of house keys, ever.
Well, let me tell you a story about a hometown. So I grew up in Moscow, Idaho.
Yep.
Do you recognize that from any of the news? Do you recognize that from the news at all? No?
No.
Okay, right now, so Moscow, Idaho has got like a population of 25,000. And it's not like Weatherford where we service everyone around us.
Yeah.
So really it's like way
kind
bigger.
of sprawled out.
Yeah. It's up in the panhandle of Idaho. Nobody goes there unless you're going there. Mm-hmm. Well, on November 13th, somebody broke into or went into one of the houses and murdered 4 university students.
Oh, no.
So
that
now
was
you know?
Moscow. Yeah.
That's my hometown. So when you
shit.
say, like, I've never felt more safe, I mean, nobody locks their houses in Moscow. Like, that house was a come-and-go house. Like, it was like people just came and went.
Yeah.
Because, but somebody went in and brutally murdered these 4 kids, and they have no idea who it is.
Yeah, I don't know. As much as we are safe, I mean, you look back at the little girl that was abducted a few weeks ago in Weiss County.
Well, she kind of was. We thought she was abducted for, like, really bad sexual assault reasons. But really, he just freaking hit her with his truck.
Yeah.
Which is unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
But with us growing the way we have, little stuff like, unfortunately, that stuff comes along with it, But overall, Weatherford, like, I've just never even thought about it. Like, my office. I've left the office, started driving home, and I was like, oh, man, I forgot to lock the door. Like all of the computers and everything,
That's because Janine's working around the clock. She's going to be there.
Yeah, she had checked out a couple hours prior to that.
And you're on the main street, literally on Main Street.
Yeah.
Right across the street from a bar.
Oh, I've pulled into my parking lot, and a police officer comes in and, like, can I help you? And I'm like, yeah.
Sure.
Can you knock out this contract for me real quick so I can go home? But I really don't see, 'cause being on that main strip, I did see a really shady deal Ashley and I and Chris and Stormy Moore just got done having dinner, and a drug deal went down in my parking lot.
Really?
I know it. And could have
That's
been.
pretty, like, why would you pick that parking lot right on Main Street?
I guess it's lighted. I don't.
But that's what you don't want for drug deals.
I have no idea. But
Is
like
that
I
from
pulled in
experience,
and
or
What? What'd you say?
does that come from experience?
I'm just saying,
What's the
like,
pro-
look, okay.
What's the?
I've watched Breaking Bad, okay?
Okay.
And anytime something like that happens, they find 2 abandoned warehouses and they park in between them.
yeah. So
We've got that.
Right. You could go over to the feed store across the street. Yes.
So I pulled in, and I was driving, and I get out because I like noticed, and I was like, "Y'all get out of here."
You
know?
did say that?
Oh yeah. Well, my buddy, he's super.
How old were these people?
Oh, definitely young 20s.
Were they tweakers?
I would say so. That would give that judgment.
Okay.
Yeah. That's
Tweakers scare
that's
me.
Yeah, and so
They're not
I get
concerned
out,
with
and this guy
concealment.
bows up to me, and I was like,
What does that mean?
Just like like.
Look, I'm
Yeah.
going to push my weight around?
And Ashley's like, "Oh, Matt, like we might have had a couple of
Alcoholic beverages?
cocktails," which
Okay.
I just said I was driving, but I really wasn't driving.
You had a
I had
designated driver.
I had a Tesla.
That doesn't... What?
It was driving for me.
You have a Tesla?
No,
Okay.
but
He was not...
We're gonna have to have a editing session.
You had a designated driver, correct? Yes. Okay, great.
okay. And so this guy like starts bowing up, and then his other buddy starts bowing up, and then my buddy comes out of the car, and he carries everywhere. Like he's just one of those guys that,
So your buddy's me, basically?
Yeah.
Just
And-
whipping out the Glock?
yeah.
Okay.
And I'm like, this just is fixing to turn bad. And I just looked at the guy and it's like, dude, it's fixing to get bad. Let's just all try to make smarter choices than you're fixing not to make. Get out of here. And they got up and they left. But I mean, it was totally in Deneen's parking spot is where it was.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. The veteran.
At least it wasn't. I
parking
mean,
spot.
they could at least went to the other side of the building. A little bit more
could've,
concealed.
yeah.
But yeah.
It is kind of sad, though, because, like, I was talking to my boys. They're junior and senior in high school. Like, they've all seen people vaping. And it's all in the schools. And they have one restroom that does not have the vape detection. And I was talking to my son. I'm like, dude, so why don't you freaking, go tell people that? He's like, I'm not going to be the one that goes and tells
You're not gonna be the
on the
the
4
mole.
dudes that are in there vaping.
And I think it goes back to my whole thing about parenting.
Oh, 100%.
That my kids, they know it. It's just no different about guns. That my kids see we have a huge pig problem at the house again. So like I've got an AR-15 sitting at the table.
Let's talk about how you talk about your wife. Like, let's use some nicer language.
I just now got onto that. And I'm
I was like, hold on, maybe I need. Did I miss something?
but they know.
They
that-
tear up your yard here in Texas.
Yeah.
They suck.
Yes, but like my kids see an AR it's got a big old night vision scope on it. And they don't touch it. They like know, hey, that's Dad's gun and this or that.
Have you ever wondered what this scar is on me? Right here.
Where I hit you with a tennis ball when we were playing tennis.
Oh, no.
What is it?
Have you seen this scar right here?
Holy smokes!
So I grew up in Idaho in a hunting home.
Yeah.
And my brother was a little bit crazy. And my parents went out of my dad was out of state for a business conference and my mom was in town. We lived out in the country.
Right.
On gravel roads. Like the roads where I grew up are not like the roads here. Like you have like a pile of gravel in the middle and a pile of gravel on the sides and people would fishtail and go off the road
That's
all
just
the
like
time.
Nebraska.
Yeah. Why aren't the roads like that here? It's kind of weird. Anyway, so my mom's in town. I'm 7 years old, and my brother's babysitting. And she says, whatever you do, don't get out the gun. And he was like, I think I might try to get out the gun. And so he did. Anyways, meanwhile, I get shot.
Really?
Yeah, 357.
Whoa!
Wow.
At 7 years old.
Yeah, it went through here, back in here, and out right here.
Holy!
So all of these.
A 357 at 7 years old.
So my point is that even though kids
You're pretty much
know,
a badass.
Well, no, I mean, I was freaking lucky.
Yeah.
But even though kids know they shouldn't do stuff, they don't have the ability to think, especially boys. From what I understand, at 21 years old, they kind of have the whole consequences of your actions in their brains.
Right.
But prior to that, they're kind of like extremely impulsive.
Wait until they see a deer after they've shot it, flop it on the ground.
Ugh. Dude, one time we had a
That's
freaking...
the missing thing. They see
The consequences.
Right.
exactly
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
because they're in make believe video game life, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And so they just see a splash of red, and then the dude might come back up and start fighting again, and they don't understand really.
They just put in $5 to get more lives.
You shoot something, it's dead.
Yeah.
You know,
There's no
That
coming
life
back.
no
goes
coming
away.
back. Yeah.
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 And when I first took my son deer hunting, I was teared up, I think, more than he was watching his reaction when that deer didn't die instantly.
Oh, I can't do it.
And that's actually a really good story.
Let's tell
All right.
it.
So
Let me make sure we have enough time. We have 7 minutes.
All right, it's quick. So one of my agents, Michael Crane, who's one of my dearest friends,
Doctor.
Go easy.
they have been leasing a ranch from Helen Groves. So Helen Groves is the largest shareholder of the King Ranch. Okay,
I'm not a name dropper or anything.
King.
she actually just passed away.
Oh.
But so they've had this lease. They've had the lease so long they actually built a house on it.
Wow.
That's just But long story short, I take Cole out hunting. It is freezing cold out, and we're in this little ground blind, and he shoots a deer. He was a good shot, but it just is a little bit smaller caliber than I would have preferred. But Cole was like 8 years old.
What was he shooting? A 22?
No, it was a
38?
22 250. No, it wasn't a 22 250. It was a 243. It just wasn't a great location of a shot, more of a gut shot.
Yeah.
But anyways, so we get back, and there's a couple other guys at the house, and Cole's just like, he was shaking. He's like, Dad, I got buck fever, and you saw the gun, and the gun's like going like this, and it's like, Cole, you can't shoot. Like, you couldn't hit the broadside of a barn right now. I was like, I think I have buck fever. And I was like, well, take buck fever and just tone it down a little bit, and like.
Does that just mean he's super excited?
Yes.
Okay.
And so as we get the deer, we gut it, which he's sticking his hands up there and doing it all. Like, I'm not doing it for him. And we get back, and I kept the liver, and because I knew the two guys that were at the camp. And Cole never knew like why we were keeping this, like he didn't even really know what it was.
Did you make him do the blood on the thing?
We did.
Okay.
And then the
Wolverine.
guy's like, so did you bring the liver? Cole's like, no. And I said, yeah, we got the liver. And he's like, oh, good. I love cooking liver. He's taking this liver, doesn't even salt and pepper it, throws it in a frying pan. And he's like, all right, son, eat up. And like dices it up. And Cole takes the first little bite of it. And you could just tell like the sense of urgency to throw up right then.
The blood drains from
And
his
he
face.
does it, and he's eating and eating. And he takes 5 6 pieces of it.
That's very brave.
Yeah, and the guy's like, hey, y'all, anybody else want something? Like, hell no, we don't want that. And Cole came over to me, and he's like, Dad, I understand about, eating all the parts to the deer and stuff, but he goes, I never want to do that again. He's like, that's the worst stuff I've ever eaten in my entire life. And I was like, I get it, but at least, man.
I can say that the liver's not the best, but the heart is actually really good.
Well, it's a muscle.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm a big fan of the heart.
I'm a backstrap guy.
Yeah.
Chicken fried.
Chicken fried. Yes.
Although the organs are supposedly super good for us to eat. Like, we should be
nutrients.
eating more. Yeah.
Right. Liver King.
Yeah, Liver King really did that well, didn't
Did
he?
you see that?
Well, you did hear about Liver King, right?
Oh, yeah.
And how bad he is?
That dude hasn't checked up though.
He keeps on throwing
He's-
out the TikToks.
Yeah, he's not checking up. He's like, yeah, I was juicing and keep eating liver.
I mean, obviously he's eating liver, but
Yeah.
he's so gross though. Like, that's not attractive at all.
No deodorant. 0.
Really?
Yeah.
Why? Because he doesn't need it?
That's what the caveman never used deodorant.
Yeah.
Well, we don't live. I mean, humanity has progressed since then.
Do you know he was mega wealthy before all of that? It wasn't that.
Yeah.
Well, at least what I've read.
I don't know anything about him other than he's gross looking
Yeah.
and eats a lot of meat and makes his family eat a lot of meat, and actually said he never juiced, but now he's
Yeah,
admitted he's
admitted
juicing.
it.
How did that come to play?
Oh,
So-
they found an email.
Yeah, some dude.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah, some dude in his circle forwarded it out, and he was like explaining the whole, recipe that he used and stack or whatever they call it. And
Was it 7 or 10,000 a month or a week?
Yeah.
Or something
yeah,
craziness.
something
Like
yeah.
dollars?
Yeah,
$7,000 a week?
Is
month.
something.
I think it was a month.
No, it was more than that.
Why is that such a big deal? Like, who cares if people juice up? Why is that such a big deal? I mean,
It's an
honestly.
advantage, right? Like I think it's just like anything else. Like it allows you to like if there is like in his case,
Is it illegal?
he's-
Oh, yeah.
Sure, yeah.
Oh, well, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, you can get testosterone, but what he was taking was like Winstrol and
Performance enhancing.
all the extremely high end
Pig hormones.
Yeah, he was taking human growth hormone on top of 3 or 4 other deals. But like from a sports perspective, if everybody's on the same playing field where it's not legal,
I
then
get that
it's-
if you're
but-
competing.
But in his case, the only thing that screwed him is, I mean, he'd have been better off just saying, "Yeah, I juice." But then his narrative is like, oh, really? Is it the juice or is it the liver?
Bro,
Or is it the
Right.
product he's trying to sell?
The product he's selling behind
And
Right.
it.
this is the image that you get by
Right.
using my product.
Right. Which is, my guess is I'll bet you anything that he hasn't like lost that much of a following. I bet his following's still pretty solid. I'd be interested to see what that is.
I don't know.
Boy, you look at the remarks, though, after he posts.
Yeah.
Dude,
And
people
I
are
mean-
savage.
Yeah.
They're so savage.
Go easy on us.
We don't get any comments, so it's okay.
We're about to. We're about to go viral like your TikTok post.
Dude, there's no dogs barking in the background. That's the problem.
We can change that.
He's in a cage in the house right now.
Wow.
Our little puppy dog.
We got a cool little
The Chinese speaking
Weimaraner.
one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Weimaraner
Do you really
pup.
have a Weimaraner?
Yeah.
So I grew up with those.
He's just a little baby.
I used to field trial those.
You did?
I'm actually in the Weimaraner Club of Texas.
You're kidding me.
Yeah.
So
The most worthless hunting dog you'd ever find.
Really?
But is this your first one?
yes.
Okay. It's the most destructive dog you'll ever have. If you tell it no and it gets mad at you, just playing on your couch,
He
your
does.
doormat
He does get mad already.
will destroy it trying to get your attention.
But he runs and he's
I'm just-
happy.
so
he's
did
he's a
mine.
happy boy.
Yeah, so did mine. I grew up with them like for a long time.
My parents, so we brought, it was extremely impulsive. We had a boxer that we loved.
Right.
And he passed away in like May, and it has left a hole in my soul
Right.
because he was my buddy.
Yeah.
And so finally, I saw this picture on Thanksgiving Day of this little dude, and I like go, baby, I really want this puppy. And he goes, let's go get him.
Yeah.
And so we just literally drove to Godley and picked him up that night.
Survey.
So let's talk about, okay, so we're all in real estate in some form, right? You're pure funding.
Lucky us.
Yes, you're pure funding.
Yes.
I'm just a realtor, just a lowly little realtor.
One of my favorite.
You're a
realtors.
broker. So where do we see the market in 2023?
Where do we see it or where do we hope?
Where do we see it? Like what predictions? Because I've read some really, really great predictions for 2023, so I'm hopeful. I think it's going to be fine.
I think so too. I mean, obviously, I'm a glass half full guy, anyways.
Same.
But the numbers,
Your glass is kind of empty.
well,
Okay, go ahead.
sorry, I digress. I like to start half full
Okay.
and work my way down.
You might as well just fill it up to here. You know what I'm saying?
So I think there's a lot of factors that go into kind of at that global level that impact us down here in little old Parker County, right? Like it's recession talk, it's inflation. Those are the two big factors, right? And so when you're thinking about rates, that impacts y'all's business because when rates go up, and we've got this crazy home price situation, when you've got a $350,000 home selling at $500,000 with a 7.5% interest rate, well, guess what?
That's what
that
kills
house,
me.
That house isn't selling.
When I walk into an $800,000 house and I'm like, this is a $400,000 house.
Yeah.
I cannot tell my clients, yes, this is a great investment.
Yeah,
I don't think
deal.
it is.
No, it's awful.
I didn't close buyers until July of this year because I could not tell my clients, yes, let's bid 50,000 over. Yeah. Not one time did my clients do that.
Though. I'm the same way. That we had a mutual friend.
Yeah, a year.
And I talked myself out, not myself, my customers out of doing more deals 2-to-1, 3-to-1. Mm-hmm. It wasn't the right time.
We are the smart people.
Yeah.
Because all I think about is what if this couple is driving home? Or what if the husband is driving home and he's the breadwinner and he gets in a car accident and the market has turned, which it has, and they're not able to sell, and then they lose everything.
Yeah.
I couldn't do that.
One of my biggest mentors, Jerry Clinton, he kind of put me under his wing when I first started real estate in 2000. And he gave me the best advice. He said, never put your customer into something that you can't get them out of.
Right.
Because as soon as that happens...
we might have done that before.
You're a winner on that one, though. But as soon as that happens, then they will tell more people about that negativity about it.
That's right.
And that will
go out. Because that impact is massive, right?
Yes.
Like it's, whether it's a defaulting on a loan or a foreclosure or a short sale, like that leaves a big mark, and they're going to look for somebody, whether it's your fault or not.
It's always going to be our fault.
They're going to look at y'all.
It's always going to be our fault.
It is, but we know more, and kind of like probably a little bit more than, probably Gary knows the same, but when it comes to people's private information, unfortunately, we're realtor, we're a psychologist, we're everything.
Counselors, yes.
But there's so many times, when we're in a transaction that something negative's happened to the family. The husband's lost a job. The husband took his life. The wife took his life. This or that. And then you find out, oh, my goodness, we'll just say the husband on this that, and I'm actually going to one family particularly that they had no idea how much debt they were in, right? Gosh. They were just living a great life, went out and had fancy vacations and cars, and they had everything, and then something happened, and then they go out and I hear this donkey in the background. I was like,
It's our neighbors.
Just banging away.
And then they, like, the wife's in sheer panic and this and that. They have nothing. Zero.
That's so sad.
Yeah. And but going on to the market, I think that I think interest rates have been a big thing. Banks are getting a little bit tougher, requiring a little bit more down, which I'm never negative on that.
No, it's a good thing.
The more equity you can get in a property, I think just the better you are for refinancing in the future, just,
Well, cost of the loan, right?
Yeah.
Like that's the thing. I had a conversation this morning with a guy, and he keeps saying, I'm a first-time home buyer, because people are so, they're programmed to ask us about those programs, but
they're terrible. I think they're terrible for programs.
Yeah, I think it's going back to the, everything has its place, right? For this guy who's got some money to put money down, you start looking at like the down payment assistance programs, the high DTI FHA loans where you're over 50%. And I'm like, buddy, like you're talking like $5 to $10,000 on the deal on a $350,000 house. You're paying $5 to $10,000 in rate and fees and stuff. And that's not stuff that's coming to me. That's the lender is getting that stuff, right? And so I'm like, you need to take care of business, pay some debt down. Like they use these first-time homebuyer programs to kind of entice movement in the market, but it's the bad kind of, like, it gets people into buying. Like they're not great. There's a few that are out there that are good, and trust me, we do them. If the right situation is there, we'll do them. But I mean,
I've only done one once in 6 years.
Yeah.
because I don't think it's a good product for a client.
I don't do a lot of homes. So,
Yeah.
all of my stuff is 25% down.
Yeah.
But
Land and ranch and stuff.
yeah, the thing that's concerning though is I'm going to end it on a positive note, but the negative notes is one of my mentors here locally that has a management company. They're getting people that are paying rent on a credit card. That should be a ding, 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 right? And it just
terrible.
started in a large amount. So
I
that
thought-
should be your first red flag.
I thought they required you to make 4 times your rent, which basically you need to be making your rent net.
Yeah, but these
in a
are
week.
people. But these are people that already have the house secured, right? So if the lease is expired, they're continuing month to month. Then you don't have to recheck like you do, on a line of credit or something at the bank and redo financials every year. So that's a first red flag to me. You can't read the news, you can't listen to the news because it's Debbie Downer, Debbie Downer, Debbie Downer. You have to go through that because I think there's some publicity that I don't want to get.
Fear drives clicks,
yes.
right?
If it bleeds,
Fear
it
drives-
leads. If
yeah.
it bleeds, it leads.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But my biggest thing is are we in a recession? Yes, I think we've been in a recession.
2 months of negative GDP is a recession. We've had that.
Yeah, quarters. Yeah,
So-
2 quarters.
2 quarters, yeah.
But the thing that right now I've got over 200 lots for sale. Not a call.
Really?
Yeah. But the
I have
thing,
like 7 listings, and I had a showing today.
yeah,
All right.
Fingers crossed.
yeah,
Only on one of them.
But the thing
I've
is,
had 3 calls for pre-approvals since being back. So starting yesterday and then today. So
so that's good.
Yeah,
But
100%.
my thing is the difference between '08 and today is if you had a pulse, you could get a loan in '08, right?
well, you didn't even have to be alive.
Yeah, more or less. Yes.
Preferably, they didn't want you alive.
Yeah.
In '08, if you were a stripper that had wads of cash
Yeah.
Yeah.
in your fishnet
And
stockings,
you
could
just
get a
said
loan.
that you made 800,000
Yeah,
a year.
stated.
and
Yes.
you're
Right.
good.
Yes.
But the thing about it is the banks have been predicting this for years. I would
This?
say yes. They thought it was going to happen 3 years ago.
Really?
So they've been tightening all the lending requirements. But the thing is Texas, we still have the growth. That has not stopped.
Right.
And so what I predict, and
For,
I hope
for
I'm-
2023?
yes, and I think I'm going to be right,
Okay.
is you have builders pumping the brakes, developers pumping the brakes. The builders right now, you'll see in subdivisions, you'll see product getting built, but they're trying to get those off their line of credit.
They
right?
have to.
Exactly. And so they're building this stuff, get it gone. Whether they break even or take a little bit of loss, it's fine, right?
It's going to be a loss because so much of that building that's completed now was done during the
At a higher
shortages.
cost.
Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean,
and it
Material
is.
cost, right?
But so I've got a line of credit at my bank, and it started earlier this year at 4%. Now I think we're at 8%. It's
Yes.
every
Yeah,
month
doubled.
I get another increase.
yes.
But
That's every month the Fed funding rate
Yeah.
gets raised.
some
And that's
of them I've
exactly
gotten
what it is.
too.
Yeah.
But the thing about it is we still have the growth. And so what you're going to find in my prediction in second to third quarter 2023, you're going to see a huge shortage of housing.
Well, we still are. That's the thing.
It is, but it's going to make it more affordable because right now they're trimming the fat. It happens in the oil market all the time. You had so many of these subs, so many of the builders, everything that were just got so used to getting this. And we got to lower that down. It's no different than oil field. Oil field, you had welders that were, every day going at $100 an hour, and then it
Yeah.
went to $350. And there's got to be, a check in place there to make it even kill again. If not, get out of there and get somebody else in there that wants to do it. And there's going to be a huge demand again. And I think even so, Heather, what was prime in 2006, 2007? What was interest rates then?
I want to say 4.25, 5.25, 6 and a
Keep going.
quarter, 7 and a
Correct.
Okay, so we moved here in 2006.
Okay.
But I was not a realtor then. I owned a medical billing company. So I had I don't have a clue what we got on our interest when we
was
bought
right
in
around
06.
Yeah.
6%.
07.
I think it was like 6% is what we got, probably 6%.
I would say it was higher than that.
Really?
Yeah. And the world still turned.
Well,
That's the big.
over the last 20 years, the rates that we have right now are still historically low.
Absolutely.
You know, and the inventory, we've got like what, 3 months of inventory in Alito alone. Like, so we still have, like, everything that I am reading is projecting that 2023 is still going to be one of the best years from 2002 to 2020.
Yeah, I think our
First
market,
and second quarter are going to be a son bitch.
I think
Save your money.
North Texas. Yeah, I think
Eat
you're
your
right.
rice
We've
and
got.
beans.
We're going to see, as far as rates concerned, the inflation stuff. Like, as long as there's not a big macro event that happens, let's just say everything just goes kind of as it is today. You're going to see inflation come down. Interest rates are going to come down. We were quoting 7 3/8, roughly a month and a half ago. Where are we? End of December. So let's call it November 1st. Today we're anywhere from, depending on your credit in this scenario, you're probably anywhere from 6 to 6.25. I mean, that's a massive amount of money. On a $400,000 loan, that translates to about $450 a month.
Better, though. Better than it was.
Great. I think it's great. I think it's good money because now we're selling the 2-1 buy downs, which you guys as realtors, you can. We always say, hey, keep the selling price where it's at, right? Keep it at 400. Don't drop it 25 grand. Keep it at 400 and grab 10 grand in seller credit and push that towards the 2-1.
Yeah, we just got someone under contract with that.
Yeah,
And that was the only way the deal worked.
Yeah.
It was like $8.99 residential deal with the 2-1 buy down.
yeah. No, it's good.
For those of you who don't know, a 2-1 buy down is where the seller is prepaying the interest for those 2 years. So if the interest rate is at 7%, the first year is at 5%, the second year is at 6%, and then you go to 7%. So the thought is to prepay that interest, you don't lose that credit, and then you refi before you get to 7%.
My first house I ever bought in
That was resonating. Did you hear that?
It was.
it's like the Gong Show. No, nothing to say about this show. But my first home I bought in, I think it was 99 or 2000. We did it on a 2-1 buy down.
Really?
Yeah. So these.
I thought this was a brand new product.
No, it's been around. It's been around for a long time.
Yeah.
And so when the banks were smart, they're like, hey, we need to keep activity going, so let's do this. And obviously pricing was at a point where it was, hey, we've got excessive pricing right now. So there's room in the deals. People come down and you only need, even on a $650,000 loan, you only need about 12 or 13 grand to put it towards that. And so, 12 or 13 grand to get a house sold and moved on to another opportunity for the sellers. I mean, it's like you said on your deal, is a win-win. So.
Yeah. I just like a balanced market when there's a win for both people. That's what I like.
I think in 3 or 4 years, people will realize that I think the deals were good. Everybody's still like, 3%, 2.65. And I'm like, that's just not.
Historically, that's never happened.
Never. And
Never.
likely never
Right?
will. And the only reason it happened is, think about, it was like COVID, right? Like COVID drove that activity because there was nothing else going on. So what else are we going to do to move money around?
Right.
Well, we'll buy and sell houses. Well, then
was
everyone
great for
went
us.
bananas.
Yeah.
Yeah. We were doing, so my partner did, in 1 month during COVID, we didn't do any purchases.
Just
with
all
our old
refis.
company.
All
With our
refis.
old company.
Yeah.
I think his biggest, and at the time he was my sales manager, he did something like 49 refis
In 1 month?
in 1 month.
Woo.
In the company, we had one LO did in Arizona, like I think it was like June of 2020. He did like 69 refi deals.
Can you imagine if they made those loans assumable?
So some are.
Aren't all VA loans assumable?
Yeah, all government.
Yeah.
FHA and
You
VA.
weren't
But they're
doing those.
so
You were just
difficult.
doing mostly conventional, weren't you?
We were doing, back then we were just doing straight
But
conventional.
think about the value of that house. if you could buy this house and inherit a 2.2% loan.
The problem is that the excess. You know what I'm saying? Because if you bought it even 2 years ago and the value has gone up like
Yeah, you got to cover the
20%.
That's usually
That is true. I didn't
they
think about
usually got to
with,
come
with
up
a VA,
Yeah,
they got to pay off that extra.
yeah. They got to come to the table and pay the.
If
'Cause
they
that guy's gonna
if they
want
have
his
that
equity.
yeah, of course. If they have that
Yeah.
equity, they can do it.
If it was dollar for dollar, 100%.
Plus,
But it's usually
I also heard on average those loans take like 90 days to close, assumable loans.
Yeah, I
Because
mean,
most
I've
I've
never
never
done one.
Most people don't know how to do them. Even at the bank, like you have to go through whoever's servicing the loan, and whoever's servicing the loan, they're not you.
they don't want to have to go through that, right? Because
Nobody knows how
they're
to
a
do it.
surviousr. They're not
That's
an
right.
originator.
Right.
And
Yeah.
the last thing they want to do is go through an origination process with somebody.
Right.
And it's just not their. It's not, and that's
I heard it's 90 to 120 days.
yeah, it doesn't surprise me
It's
To do
probably
that.
easily deniable.
because we don't
Probably.
Yeah, we don't.
Yeah.
Obviously, on the origination side, we don't ever get involved, but
Yeah.
because that cuts us out of the money.
How much he pops into it, how much, like, if he has stuff pop up that we're talking about, then it takes him a lot longer.